That takes us into our next bout. We got a middleweight bout that I know both of us have been very excited about. It has been rescheduled a few times. So, we got Nassourdine Imavov taking on Phil Hawes.
Again, another fight that's probably going to move up on the card, right?
Yeah, there's no way this stays. The fight that was scheduled, this exact one a few months ago, was second or third on the card in the main card. So we can expect this one to move around as well. So let's touch on Phil Hawes a little bit before we dive into Imavov. We love his nickname, obviously, Megatron. Shout out to you getting in that Hall of Fame as well. So, I'm sure Phil Hawes is going to be inspired there. Somebody that we actually touched on our prospect video as well, man. Really highlighted him for February. I think we had him like number 3 on the list, right? So I think we're really
and number 2 and number 1 are fighting within the next little bit. So
yeah, exactly. We're gonna see them all, and yeah, like you said, number 2's later on the card as well. So if you haven't checked out that video, go check that one out. UFC prospects for February of 2021. But yeah, so that's Phil Hawes. Both these guys sport a 9-2 record. Anything you want to touch on Phil before we move on to Imamov?
Yeah, so let's talk about just the quick things that we always touch on, right? Like, he showed such good wrestling, and then I did show you behind the scenes that Julian Marquez knockout of Phil Hawes, where your reaction to my placement of the video was the reason maybe we couldn't really air it. So at the end of the day, I think that
was sick.
Yeah, and let's be real. Despite what you saw, that woke a man up. You know what I mean? Yeah, I think Phil Hawes really started attacking the striking game, and you can see the improvement over the course of those Dana White Contender Series fights. He's looked scary as he comes into the UFC, but remember, I did point out the Malkoun fight, right? Like, that was a guy who was basically on the roster in the moment, on the same card as Whitaker. I believe it's one of his training partners, and he was there to just take the fight in case something happened. And so, going into that fight, let's be real, there was already a bit of an asterisk, if you will, because I don't want to take anything away from the win or anything away from Jacob Malkoun, but at the same time, we know that Phil Hawes has been itching for that fight his entire life, and, we have a training partner stepping in as he makes way within that given period of time. You know what I mean? And so,
yeah, for sure.
Let's be real. This is a fight, and Pi said it best. Why are we anticipating it? We're watching 2 very real prospects. And I think the only reason we didn't rank him is because, he wasn't part of the list that we were given. But at the same time, it's like, we saw him fight once. We know what he can do. We are so high on him because we kind of predicted that, right? Like, he really did kind of do what we said he would. And, you were kind of going to do
and in 18 seconds, no less.
Yeah, and that's the thing, right? So I really love the fact that Jordan Williams fight, especially, like, we saw that he was able to weather that early storm of the power shots. Jordan Williams does not stop coming forward. He was able to use some footwork, some technique, some level changing to get out of the way and try to avoid any of those. Because, he was getting hit, bro. We both saw him getting hit for sure. And so that's where, like, with Phil Hawes, as you were going to get into Imavov right now, it's a really interesting matchup because you're kind of getting a higher fight IQ fighter, I would say, with the more experience in Phil Hawes versus the Jordan Williams fight. So it's like, in both sides, you're kind of seeing the second fight that they're in is kind of like this new level. And
the real fight, yeah.
Yeah, it's really interesting. And like we said, it has to move up. This fight has such a good, potential behind it that it should really be on the main card.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I feel like both these guys are going to be around the UFC for a little while, so it would not surprise me to see it move even into the main card for sure. Let's dive right into the line here. Who do you see being the favorite in this one? And I'll give you a little 2-part to this one since we had the original line and the current line.
Well, interestingly enough, I'm not even going to lie about this one because it almost looks like I've been cheating lately. So I actually know where that line, I can remember where that line closed before the fight fell off. And before I get into the line, I felt like you might have had some touch points on Imavov, but maybe I actually just touched on all of them for you. I'm not even sure because maybe you had
again, we've touched on this guy before. Noted,
right?
Similar record to Phil Hawes here, 9-2. They both had strong UFC debuts, very similar, in terms of prospect and layout here. So, I think you touched on the important things in terms of athleticism, how different this fight will be for both fighters. And it's going to be a close one. Yeah.
And so, let's do Pies' favorite part here. So I'm not going to lie. If you remember that line, I'm pretty sure we pounced on Imavov when he was such a massive underdog, but that line moved drastically. And if I'm not mistaken, I could have sworn that line closed at almost half that value. Like it might have been closer to a pick 'em if I'm not mistaken. And so I actually am going to still keep that similar vibe and not go so high, but I'll give Phil Hawes a bit of an edge here from a Vegas perspective and go with a -150.
All right. And so, your initial inclination was right. We're still going to give you a bell on this one. There's no way you.
Oh, regular bells. Let's go. A ding a ding a ding a ding.
Yeah, we missed these. But you're right. Originally when this fight was scheduled to happen, Phil Hawes was about a -175 favorite. It did close closer to a -130, -140 last time. This time it's a straight pick 'em, men. -110. Yeah. No favorite. And I'm not surprised, to be honest. Both these guys match up so close that it's a tough one to call.
Yeah, and it's funny, Pies, because I can pretty much guarantee you that on the last time around, I definitely saw something close to that -110 as it closed up, because that fight got really close to happening, right? Like it got pretty much down to the weigh-ins, if I remember correctly. So that's where like I'm a little disappointed, because like for us, we had value on that fight. Like there was good value, but even to break it down just quickly, I think the keeping your hands up, right? That's going to be huge for Imavov. I think you're seeing a different, IQ in MMA when it comes to Phil Hawes. Like if you're very hands down trying to find your spots, I mean, footwork or not, this man is an athlete and he's learning to pick his shots, and you need to be careful in that first round.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely has to get out of that first round, and then
exactly.
We'll definitely get to a nice, entertaining fight. So, safe to say we are pumped for this one. UFC Vegas 19 takes place next Saturday, headlined by our boy, the Black Beast, taking on Curtis Blaydes. We got a bunch of beauty heavyweight fights on that card, so I'm super pumped for it. That wraps it up today. If you haven't already done so, smash that like button, hit that bell button, give us that subscribe, the follow. All our Instagram, Twitter is all there. Any questions, comments you guys have, just send them our way. Anything else, Siraj?
I mean, just be ready. Like we keep pumping this fight up, but be ready for a 5-round wrestling match where Curtis Blaydes isn't able to finish this man, and Derrick Lewis isn't able to get off his back after 3 rounds, and you're just watching a guy get taken down for 5 rounds. So just be ready for that as well.
Nice little disclaimer there, my man. Always a pleasure, dude. Take care.
You too, my guy. Take care.